Alright, this bike is 2018 Yamaha R6. It got a full system, it got a filter in it, and it got tuned by a, you know, a well-known shop here in the Metroplex that do a lot of bikes. And it's also the same shop that got me, you know, into tuning, because I took my bike there a few years ago and they didn't do a good job. Check engine light was on, they couldn't get it off. The bike was like struggling, and you know, it supposedly made all this power on the dyno, but that's not the case. So this R6 right here is tuned by that same shop, but you know, we're talking about a 3-year difference between when I went there versus now. So it could be the same person, it could be a different person on the operating dyno, I don't know. But just my initial observation, I can already tell whoever's there on that dyno is still not knowing what they're doing. And I'm not gonna say no names, you know, so it's not like I'm trying to talk down on nobody. But it's just mind-blowing to me how so many shops tune so many bikes, and the people that's tuning it literally have like no idea what they're doing. And it's like how can you not? And that's why, and the reason why I'm making this video is because, you know, so many people are so stuck on a dyno tune just being the best thing in the world. A dyno tune is only good as the operator that's operating the dyno. The dyno is just a tuning tool. That's what a lot of people do not understand. It's hard for people to grasp. All people think is if they take their bike to a dyno, that their bike is just, it don't get no better than this. This is what it is. I took my bike to the dyno. My bike's dyno tuned. It made this much power. Man, all that stuff is trash. That's why anytime people ask me about numbers, I just tell them, like, I don't know. All I know is that this bike running good. I can tell you that. I know how to get it running good. But if you're looking for some numbers, then I don't know what to tell you. And then the fact that numbers vary so much. Like, somebody can legit take their bike to the dyno and they'll be disappointed. Like, they whole week messed up because it didn't make the numbers that they saw on some video or some random shop that did dyno the same bike. We could put the same exact bike tuned by the same exact person on 10 different dynos, and you're going to get 10 different results. Like, that's just what it is. And I don't see what's so hard for people to understand that. So like this bike right here, for example, it's just running extremely hot the whole time that I'm just sitting here, and that's because looking at the AFR gauge, I can tell that they have it super lean at idle and just low RPMs. That makes the bike run hotter. If you're sitting and your AFR is weighed in the 16s, for example, then what you think gonna happen? It's gonna get hot. So now I'm just gonna take it out to do an initial test. Because normally once I get a bike, I really don't care who tuned it. I just immediately erase what's on there and I go about my day. But this right here, I'm super curious about this because, like I say, I have history with this shop. And the reason why the bike came to me is because the owner said he felt like it's just not going how it should be. Alright, so now I'm gonna do a test to see what the air fuel is up top. Let me take this. I just saw everything I needed to see. What the AFR is legit all over the place. It went from like 11 something to 13 something down to low 12s, back down to like, come on. This is why I started tuning on the level that I'm tuning now, because like right now there's no way for me to actually look at somebody's like tune, which I don't want to do that anyway. But looking at data, like the air fuel ratio, I can do that on anybody's map. I can't see what somebody has done to the actual tune itself, but I can review the fueling, and that's really the only thing I need to see. Not from a standpoint of me trying to use somebody else's fueling, but from a standpoint of I know what the fueling should be. So if I review somebody else's like air fuel ratio and it's like way out of whack, then I already know that this tune is most likely out of whack. This is why I got into tuning, because a couple times, like when I first got into tuning, like a few people knew I tuned my bike, so they'll just ask me like, hey, can you tune my bike? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that. But a lot of these bikes were bikes that already had flashes, that already had dyno tunes. So when I first started, like not like first start tuning, but like once I start like tuning other people's bike, because I'm not gonna do something on nobody's bike as a first time deal. Like I'm just not gonna do that, because that's not cool for that person. You know, I feel like you have to have like a pretty solid foundation or something before you start trying to do it as a means of a living or something like that. Which I think like a lot of shops, I don't think it's necessarily like people being like master tuners or nothing. I'm not a master tuner. I'm just saying, like in general, like if somebody goes to get a tune, a lot of these people that own these shops are people that really don't even know much about the stuff anyway. You got some, that's why you got like a few shops or people that you know that you know does good stuff. And then you know you got other places that just have a shop, but they just do okay work or whatever. That's why basically what I'm saying is you know, you can't just because you get a dyno tune, I mean your bike gonna be running how you think it's running. And for me, when I first got started, I had looked up a few like I had a few people that came to me because their bike wasn't running right. And you know, natural I ask, well, is the bike tuned? Does it have a flash on it? And most of the times, most of them had like either a flash or it got a dyno tune. Well, in it, what I meant by being able to check people's like tunes is that like your wideband, like let me show you. So like right here, this is a wideband. This is what reads and monitors the air fuel ratio on a bike. So when I mentioned about the tune thing, about like checking somebody's tune or checking the data, this is what I meant. So this thing right here tells me exactly how the bike is running from an air fuel ratio standpoint. Not that it shows like any of the other technical stuff in a tune, just air fuel ratio. But your air fuel ratio is how, you know, that's a big part of the performance of your bike. And when I first got started is, you know, when people say, hey, I got a dyno tune, this and that, it's not running right. Like I remember one particular time a guy brought me an R1 and it was cutting out like really bad in between, I think it was like 5,000 or 6,000 RPM. So just normal riding, once you got to 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, the bike just legit just, it was nothing there. And then once you get past that RPM range, it just start back riding normal. So what I did is this wideband right here. Before I flashed or tuned it, I just wanted to verify and check to see what could have been causing the issue. And sure enough, the air fuel in that particular area was so far off compared to the rest of the map that it just was causing this major dead spot. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect here, but I'm speaking from a perspective of this being a dyno tune. If you actually have the bike with you, and I feel like there's no way that the bike should leave running like crap. Now, doing a mail-in flash, there's more room for error because there are so many different modifications people can have, like from having a header versus no header, having your catalytic converter still on the bike, having a stock filter versus an aftermarket filter. Then there's so many variations of aftermarket filters. Then not to mention like the year, you can have the same 3 different years of the same bike, and sometimes for whatever reason, the fueling can be a little different from year to year. So even if you had the same bike, you couldn't technically tailor a map for this bike versus this bike because they may have changed from this year to that year. So it's a lot of room for error when it comes to that. So, and I've even have to correct it, like some issues with a few flashes that I made, like from a mail-in perspective. Not like if I got the bike with me, there's no way I'm gonna let this bike leave running like crap. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. Not to even mention, you got the different elevations and climates, and like, you know, it's a lot of stuff that goes into this. And that's why I say when you get in the ECU flash or when you're doing a tune or whatever the case might be, if that person don't, in my opinion, fully tune your bike, then, I mean, what are they really doing? You know, if you're just getting a half-ass tune, then, bro, like, come on, man. But yeah, check out this bike, man. It's so clean. But I gotta finish working on this thing, so I just wanted to make a quick video about that. So I'll just catch y'all later.